Hi, my name is Mike, and today I want to discuss something I mentioned in my previous video. I was talking about animation, specifically about some distraction animations you should not put on your website. And this is important. I mentioned that you should not animate your cursor. What I meant, well, that's something like this. Obviously, that looks silly, that looks outdated, it's some sort of a special effect you could put on the website like, I don't know, 20 years ago, and that would kind of be cool, at least would be considered cool by some people. But again, even at that moment, it would not be okay to put something like that on a corporate website. And now, even more, I would say, don't put it at all on any website. Except maybe you build some funny gamified website, some platform for children maybe. So it's really not like a normal website. Then maybe something like that would be acceptable. So if it's more like a game than a website, maybe. But anyways, this is not the worst case scenario because here you still have your normal cursor, you just have some other elements, well, around it, behind it, whatever. What I want to talk about today is something worse, something really bad. And this bad thing is replacing the cursor with a custom image, something like this. And in this case, it's a magic wand, but I saw different things. I mean, could be some rocket maybe, or something else. I don't know, some special pointer. I mean, there is no reason to do that, first of all. I mean, why? What value would it bring to your website? Except, it's one more customized thing. It something like looks cool. Well, I mean, it doesn't really. But that's, maybe subjective. You may say, no, whatever I put is super cool. I most likely would disagree if I see it, but still, let's imagine that I'm fine with the content of that image you use instead of cursor. What bothers me is the fact that with that image, you will replace the cursor, which actually kind of belongs to user. It's not part of your website. It's part of the user system. When user moves their mouse, this cursor goes outside of your window. It doesn't change any shape or anything or color or something when user moves it outside, when he uses other applications, it remains the same. But for some weird reason, your website, one of 1,000 or 10,000 websites, it changes it. What would be the reaction of the user? Will he be excited about that? Well, I don't think so. Imagine this. If you have a car which reads road signs, most of the modern cars are doing that. So on your dashboard, let's say you just passed some speed limit sign, right? It will show 30. Okay, that's something, normal. Something you expect to see there. Imagine that in some city, they would make some special sign which somehow will force your car to show there not just a sign, but some blinker. Would you be happy to see on your car's dashboard when you're driving a blinking, red something? Well, they would say, yeah, we put it in a school zone to protect children. Well, I mean, still, it's kind of a violation of what you expect to see. It's great that cars, at least I hope so, don't really provide that functionality. So I assume if they cannot recognize the signs, they will just show nothing. But unfortunately, browser kind of allows you as a developer to mess with cursor and, just don't do it. Don't use this feature. I mean, if some functionality exists, it doesn't mean it's acceptable to use this functionality from the UI standpoint or even from a common sense standpoint. That's a part of user system. Leave it to user. I don't think a lot of users would be happy if their experience with your website will be unexpected for them, because they expect the very specific behavior of the cursor. Like when you just have it over some generic content, it has its default shape. When you put it into the input, it has some other shape. If you put it over the link, well, it changes its shape. So that's the default behavior. That's what they expect. They don't want all your animations or all the custom images, no matter how funny they look. It's silly. It's not professional to use that. Of course, there is another way to modify cursor, not when you replace it with an image, which, as I said, it's absolutely not acceptable. But when you just say in CSS, okay, when the cursor is over this area, well, it should change its shape to something. But that something is like one of the values, kind of predefined values. Computer will decide, okay, how it should look exactly. So in general, that's acceptable. However, even there, it can be misused. If you start changing it just randomly, if you change the default shape of cursor just for fun, that's not good. That's almost as bad as we discussed, maybe even more, because one person sees completely different thing, some sort of symbol or whatever, some drawing, that's at least they understand something is really wrong, but at least it's not a kind of problem of their system. That's something wrong with developer who decided to do it that way. But when they see the cursor, which kind of they used to see in some different circumstances, they will be very confused. So don't use it just for fun. There are acceptable ways to use it, like for example, here when you kind of change this to like help value, which, okay, in my case, it shows some small question mark. That's fine. But don't misuse it. Don't use it for everything. And as I said, please never replace cursor with some custom image. It really goes beyond the boundary most of the users would consider acceptable. At least that's my experience and opinion. So if you disagree with me, please write a comment. If you agree with me, also please write a comment and press like button. And I'll see you in the next video.